Social Marketing Show. All right, so we're sending the feed over to the Facebook network. Mark's got his own thing going over there in Facebook, and so we want to make sure that we use everything correctly. So we are sending the stream from YouTube, X, LinkedIn, and everywhere else to Facebook. So here we are live, Social Marketing Show. I got my man CASEY HUFF in the virtual building. What's going on, CASEY? How are you?
Doing good. Getting ready for this another cold apocalypse that's supposed to hit us.
Dude, cold apocalypse. So check this out. You've lived in Texas way longer than me. So this happens every year. My birthday is February 15th, which is the day after Valentine's Day, which no one really cares about, which is fine. And my wife and my two kids have their birthdays in November. And November is this glorious month, Thanksgiving, holidays. Everybody's in this great mood. And then it's like February comes around and everybody's like putting stuff on their pipes and everybody's like pissed off. It's going to be Snowmageddon. And it's like, that's my big celebration month, you know? But so I have to catch a flight tomorrow at 11 in Dallas to go to Vegas. Do you think that the flight will leave tomorrow?
If there is a drop of precipitation, no.
I even moved the flight to Thursday from Friday because I think if it's disastrous Thursday, I'm screwed on Friday anyway. So I was like, all right, well, I'll try and move it a day ahead to see if I can get a day ahead of it. But I mean, at that point, then there's nothing I can do. If we get smashed, we get smashed.
Yeah, pack you an air mattress so you can sleep on it in the airport.
Sleep on it in the airport. The funny thing is I booked with JSX because it's Brad Lee, you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, I'll book the nice airline. And so I feel like JSX being a premier airline, I think that they're going to fly.
They'll risk it a little more.
I think they're going to risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah, you're a typical, American that shuts down if it sprinkles.
Dude, so I don't know. That could play to my advantage, but either way, we gave it our all. We moved it a day up, and that's all you can do. It's really all you can do. So check it out. So it's 2025 now. We've talked a lot about real estate together. We've talked a lot about business together, mindset, success, and all those things. And everyone's like, dude, where's the full episodes? And it's like, man, we can make full episodes every week if we really want. And so we're like, hey, why don't we set up a time where we can both get together and chat virtually because it's so convenient, it's so easy, and it's so valuable. And so let's talk about where you started in real estate to where you are now so people can kind of get to know the person that I've been talking to on camera for months and just kind of see how that all transpired to where you're at now compared to just like everyone else, you were out there looking for your first deal not very long ago.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much right before COVID hit is whenever I started dabbling into real estate, partnered with a gentleman at the time, and I really leached on to the marketing side of it. And he was kind of like dispo. So we were just pretty much wholesaling. And he's like, hey, cold calling is how we do it. On Saturday between 10 and 4, you're going to hop on here. It's a 10-line dialer. Those of you that don't know what that is, you're pretty much calling 10 numbers at one time. And I did that for, I think, 2 days and was like, bro, forget this. I'll go back to selling cars if I have to do this. And then at the time, Facebook was kind of up and coming, doing Facebook ads. So I was like, let's get a course. I'll dig into it, learn how to do it. And pretty much the rest is history from there. I lived in the platform probably like 8 hours a day, just refreshing every 15 minutes, checking the metrics, making sure everything was right. And, according to all the social media marketers now, when they looked at my account, they're like, man, you did it wrong. But it worked. So,
well, I think that's funny that just because you didn't do it one person's way doesn't make it wrong. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? I play music and sing songs and make jingles and ads and all kinds of funny stuff. But like, I don't know that there's a right or wrong way to do anything. If it works, then it was the right way to do it.
Correct.
It just might not be the right way for somebody else.
For them. Correct. Yeah. So, you know, just like now, when someone tells me I'm doing something wrong, it's like, yeah, well, until you're in my shoes, then I'll change and and do it a different way. But yeah, we just I think sheer determination and showing up every day, trying to do better is kind of how we've grown to where we are now.
Well, right. And I've noticed this even within our organization is it's like growth can happen by expanding to X with bigger people and better people rather than a million people to hit X and maybe they're not your premier avatar. So you kind of got to look
Yeah,
at
no,
that in any business model. It's like, okay, well, we're attracting way more of our target now. And I think that's a beautiful thing. We're way more seasoned. Like you've seen us go from the little house that I was like renting, like, hey, I'm going to try and really build this into something long term and to making that investment. And even as a real estate person, it's like you can definitely tell that I, as a media guy and as a performer, have been influenced by real estate,
yeah,
like by
yeah,
my
no, I mean,
approach to my business.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, because you pretty much went from two separate roofs to one and are maximizing pretty much every tax credit and advantage you can as a business owner and, living in a nice home.
Right. And
So,
it's like we get to provide that for people. Now the whole second floor is just a place where you can come and you can use and you can crash and you can do whatever you need to do. And dude, as this full service studio, man, I wish I had that a long time ago. And so sometimes, like you said, some people would look at that and be like, dude, that's totally the wrong way to do it. You're blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I don't know, man. I've tried a lot of things and this is working better than it's ever worked. People are happy. And I think that's another thing is, does your product make the customer happy?
yeah, I mean, as long as it works for you and it works for your clients that are on board and they stay with you, who cares about the rest?
That's what
It's
I,
just,
that's the whole game. It's like, and I think that business owners, especially if you're like an owner operator, like I am, you have to look at growth as what piece is growing. Tim Harridge says this really well. He's like, dude, there's enterprise value and there's long-term sustainability and then there's, the short-term fixes. And I think that that's what you talk a lot about, that kind of, you were kind of like, with regards to social media, you were kind of like, I don't know, because there's so much. It's so easy. Snap your fingers. You're going to get rich on social media. And anybody who actually does anything for a living with a skill set knows that's bullshit.
yeah, man, like social media right now is just hard because, I mean, even my coach is like, hey, you're not posting enough. You're not posting enough. I'm like, man, like I got my phone in one hand handling, contractors and marketers and leads and sales. And then I need like the gimbal that's attached to my body, recording everything. And then, then editing it and posting it and making sure like I'm not going to get banned for speaking my mind,
That's been a
on some of these
huge issue
calls.
for me. Like I've been straight guru for like 2 years because they flagged me so hard. I was like, dude, if I'm not careful and they pull my accounts down, this could put me out of business. I can't sell social media if my accounts are taken down. Or it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
well,
And
dude, you can't even control yourself enough to stay in the community guidelines. Like, how can we trust you with our accounts? That's a big deal. Even though maybe what you're saying is true, because now we've seen they've released fact checkers. There's no more fact checking. They're going to add community notes, which, by the way, is an Elon Musk thing from X, if people don't know that. So not only did Zuckerberg copy the blue check mark, which he should have, smart move, I pay for it, and then he's adding the community notes, which smart move. Now you don't have to say it's misinformation. It's just adds context to what the video says. So now I can go back to potentially making some really funny videos and even putting on the Trump tie, the red Trump tie, I think could be a hit. I've been sleeping on that. Only the people that really, know the behind the scenes Pat have seen the Trump moves, but they're coming. They're coming at
yeah,
the
I
end of
mean,
January.
yeah, well, and what, seven,
It's
eight
coming.
days? Yeah.
Yeah, the countdown is on to Donnie. What do you think about the Gulf of America?
Man, I first saw that being like people making fun of it on the 5 minutes that I actually pay attention to
Right.
social media day.
Right.
and I have no clue. I'll be honest, I have no clue what's going on.
Yeah, so he just came in and he said,
yeah.
so we're going to change it from the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which is the funniest shit I've ever heard. I mean, I think he's just trying to be funny.
Yeah, he's just trying to rile up a different breed of
I guess. I mean, whatever. I guess
people.
You call it whatever you want, Donnie. just try and get along with everybody, all right? But that goes into all of this. Over the next 4 years, we're going to see a lot of the internet and a lot of this communication style at the forefront of business. And that's part of the reason why virtual streaming and in-person recording and streaming is going to be so important. And having a virtual version of your consulting or your mastermind is also really important. That's what we've started to build. You're in that group, Social Authority Collective, and it's like we're going to kind of get our great friends and our really smart people in there first before we even try to make an offer with it's not for that. It's built to help us all advance first, and then we can turn around and we can say, all right, well, this is what we're doing every week. But it starts with this kind of stuff, because I think virtual calls, people really need to think about having a way to do virtual calls like this, not even if you're streaming on Facebook, but with potential clients or brokerages and real estate. You want to work with a bunch of agents, get on the phone with the broker and figure out how you can service that brokerage. I mean, I don't know. You have to be able to virtually communicate with people, and you have to be able to use audio and video, because that's where the world has gone. And it's gone way further away from CNN and MSNBC and right here to Facebook.
Yeah, and it's also way better than hopping in a car and driving to Louisiana to see you in studio.
Yeah, I mean, it is nice here in Louisiana, though, you know. But that's the funny thing about Dallas, and that's the funny thing about Texas. It's so huge that there's so much opportunity. And so it's like, how do we get everybody together in one place once a quarter maybe, and make it something that we can really make awesome? I think that's the key. For me this year, that's the way I'm looking at it, is maybe once a quarter, we've got a collective meeting, and there's 2 days, podcasting, recording, this and that, the other thing, speakers, and then it all gets it all gets streamed into that group too, just like this. I can set this up to not post to my timeline, but to stream right into the group, so that everything that we do here will stream into the group. So then it all gets saved. It's all like different speeches.
Yeah, their benefit from it.
Yeah, everybody gets their speech. Everybody gets this. Everybody gets that. Now you've got a professional presentation. I had a client that I did an MC event for last year that made a lot of money, and they asked me for a sizzle reel this year. No big deal. I can make a sizzle reel quickly. But I thought in my head, I'm like, why are they asking me for a sizzle reel? What does it matter? But at the same time, it's like, if that's what they want and that's what the marketplace is saying that it needs, you might as they're giving you a really good thumbs up hint that you might as well have that this year. Number one, you have tons of footage. And number two, you can send that to anybody now. So good thing they asked. So sometimes instead of looking at something and saying, it's important to look at and be like, well, if that's what you need, then I'm sure 500 million other people are going to need the exact same thing. So might as well just get it done.
Yeah, I mean, it's just another tool in your tool belt to be able to offer to, business owners and businesses, to help stand out with all the crazy noise that's going on right now.
Right. And that's the same thing that I almost felt like, just like what we talk about. It's like, oh man, I got to do this take again. I mean, is this video, like videos and social media and all of that, when we're in our creative mode and we're just doing things and it's working, we don't feel like we need to tell people that we're doing it because it's working. But in reality, it's like, if you're not putting that out at the forefront of your messaging, people don't know that it's an offer, or people don't know that you do this, or people don't know that you do that. There's still people that think I'm just an MC and they don't know when you do the social media. And then there's people that do the social media and they're like, I didn't even know. I've never seen you at an event. I don't even go to events. What events should I go to? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I know so many different, I'm on both sides of the court.
Yeah. Yeah. Like people ask me like, hey, what's the point of you doing these videos? I'm like, it's coming. So,
well, yeah, I think that when you go back and you look over the last 3 to 6 months, you're going to look and see a guy that knows what he's talking about real estate deals. And then when it comes to presenting a software that can provide solutions for people within their organization as far as accountability and organization and moving through the deal flow process, they're going to be like, oh, well, what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to go binge watch all your content.
Yeah. Does this guy actually know what he's talking about?
Yeah. So no, I think once you have that version of that, people like RJ or like Robert Winsley or some of those people, I think that they could help us all a lot with what you're bringing to the table. I mean, especially you a lot. I mean, number one, with deal flow, and number two, with, oh my gosh, how do we bolt this on to everything else that we're already doing and, figure it out? Because, dude, real estate people are always looking for that edge.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. And it's, we're getting closer and closer. It's with development, there's always hiccups. But yeah, I mean, we're tacking on the last 2 bolts to bring out this first version and phase of it. I had somebody who's like, I just released one of like the 4 features that you have, start generating some income and stuff. But, I have to keep to my core of why I actually built it. And that was to support my operation and my business. So even if I bring it to market and it flops, at the end of the day, I don't really care, because I can still run 10, 15, 20 times faster than every other operation out there, just because of how tight my ship is going to be ran now.
Well, yeah, I think that it's always the person that's figured out the exact system that becomes the leader. It's the system that makes it work, and it's the leadership skills that make it sustainable. Yeah. And so, for us, it's like, man, we were in a situation where I was recording people in my living room and stuff. And it's like, my kids are getting ready for bed, and I'm like, man, I need a place to actually record people. Like, we're a real company now. And that was like, I don't know, 2 years ago, maybe. And I was like, man, you got to make the jump. What are you going to do?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just, and that's what's cool is being a part of seeing people's growth. I mean, just like you said, the first day we filmed at the house you're renting for it, all the way up into, last month, November, when we were in studio, just the growth and even the knowledge, right? You're putting yourself in uncomfortable spots. I mean, we've had some technical issues and have had to do a big reshoot, but I mean, it's just
because it's like
you take the punches and keep going.
Yeah, like I came into the game as the dude that made 30-second videos with a guitar, and it turned into, okay, well, I have all this recording and video and editing knowledge, but how do I use it to help the experts be experts? Because that's how I'm going to get paid, to use my skill set. And I didn't know how to like analyze, creating a service package with your talent, like until people told me what to do, you know? And I remember people telling me X amount of charge X amount of dollars a month, or 5 or 10 or 20,000. And I'm like, dude, what?
Yeah, it's insane.
And then the response of, do you think you're not worth it? I remember when that's why it sucks that I might, if the snow stops me from going on Thursday, it's Brad Lee. So it just kind of blows. But he was the one that was like, I mean, do you think you're worth it? You thought you were worth it to get up there and sing here at Mandalay Bay? And so I think that getting around those kinds of people, it's like, dude, yeah, totally. What if I sold 5 of those a month? I'd be rich.
Yeah, you got to be around a group of people that push you outside of your comfort zone all the time.
All the time, dude.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't work. And so then after we did that for a while, we realized that like it's so much more efficient to just have conversations with people and pull from the conversations, because then everything that they say is a natural reaction to the conversation. And so as long as we're able to maneuver that efficiently, then we can get tons of great content from people. 2025, no one wants to work jobs anymore in 2025. A lot of people are looking at real estate as a potential way to make money, to create a business model that can create a lifestyle that they like. What do you think the target should be for people in 2025 and beyond? Like, is it wholesaling? Is it flipping? Is it creative
Well,
finance? Is it a combination? Break that down.
for one, real estate is a job. So you're never going to get out of a job. If you set your systems up and have a team, then you don't have to work as much as if you're a solopreneur, but you will never like not have a job, you know? Um, I really think like we're really bullish on the market. You know, after we got through the holidays, everything that we've had listed on market to sell has, we're starting to get a lot more offers and stuff, and like the buyers are starting to come out. So I feel that real estate as a whole is going to pick up, at least for the next 24 months. And so for us, we're just really trying to capitalize every opportunity that we can. Um, we don't necessarily like wholesaling because we like controlling the entire transaction. Whenever you start dealing with multiple parties in a transaction, that's when deals really start going sideways. And, at the end of the day, our job as a professional is to protect the homeowner and keep our word if we say we're going to do something. And when you wholesale, you don't have the control to keep your word. And so that's why I'm not a big fan of it. Are there opportunities to wholesale? Yes, there's a lot of people that have just a wholesale operation, but I guarantee you they probably drop more contracts than they close because they can't keep their word. They can't find that person to perform on the other end. So our business is set up to perform 100% of the time on everything that we contract. So the outlook for us is just, we're bringing in some mid-level management to kind of help us with the day-to-day grind and work and the higher level decisions to help us execute faster. So that's our biggest bottleneck right now is we just wait to make a decision. So, but yeah, I mean, we want to obviously try to double our business this year. We have a roadmap, we have a plan, and now it's just kind of roll up the sleeves and get to it.
Yeah, we want to do the same thing. And I was actually talking to Tim Harridge, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm like, how do we get like, 5 more CASEY Huffs, 5 more Tim Harridges, right? Because it's like local, long-term growth, great people, can help them get deals." There's a lot that's going to be happening in Dallas for me on a completely different side of the court than most of like my clients are on. And so integrating like those two worlds could be wildly profitable for everybody because the key to business is people. And I think that the folks that just can't get over the line, they aren't focusing enough on people. They're focusing too much on deals, spreads, X, Y, and Z, instead of focusing on the person on the phone. It could just be the person on the phone. You're still focusing on deals, but if you focus on the person on the phone first, you're going to get more deals. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, if you're not solving a problem, then there's no profit, there's no deal, there's no contract to my loom just messed up. So yeah, I mean, there's no like you got to solve the problem. Like you could be you could offer your service for $1 or you could offer it for 15,000. If you're not solving the problem
right
of that individual, then it doesn't really matter. So that's in any business, I feel. So
yeah, and I think that identifying the problem and then making people aware of the problem they have. This is something that it's good that we're talking about this because it's like what I was just saying. Well, a lot of people are aware. Well, we got to have somebody come up and kind of host the show at an event. Oh, that Pat guy, he's pretty wild. Have him come out. But like, man, I know I need daily videos on my social media. Who's going to do that? Whether people have a show like this or a stream like this or videos they need chopped up, it's like, dude, daily videos, it's bound to hit if you keep doing it. And it brings so much legitimacy and accountability to your brand. Because if people can scroll and see 1 day ago, 2 days ago, 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago, and they can see months and months and months, this person's disciplined enough to come on to here and drive value and this and that and the other thing. Once it comes time for them to click on a website, it's like, well, this person clearly is putting out and invested, and I'm willing to invest in this person because they're willing to invest in me as a consumer. And I
Yeah,
think
I
a
mean,
lot of people miss that.
yeah, I mean, it's funny, I don't, of the few Andy Elliott videos I've watched, he's right. If you're a car salesman, right, or you're going in for a job interview and you're apples to apples, but one dude's fat and out of shape and one dude's in shape, who do you think's going to get the opportunity? The dude's in shape just because he's proven that he has discipline and consistency, and he's willing to put off, that immediate success, as opposed to the other person is just, whatever.
Dude, I
So
mean, and that's part of Andy's persona. And when I first met Andy Elliott, I was the MC at Ryan Pineda's Future Flipper event, and Brad Lee was the speaker that morning. It was probably the best Brad Lee speech I've ever seen, by the way. I don't know. Maybe Andy had something to do with that. And Andy was very quiet. He was there with his wife. And I remember kind of looking at him and being like, who is this guy? Like, he's in great shape. Wife's real nice, like really nice people. But he was silent. Didn't say really much of anything. And then I remember Brad had me out to do the Closers School event with him and Andy, like, I don't know, 6 months later or something. And I remember the dude, he came up into my ear in the hallway privately, and he was like, dude, you're throwing away your prime years. I'm like, fuck. I kind of turn around. It's that guy. It's Andy Elliott. I'm like, is this guy serious right now? He's like, you're throwing it away. You got a lot of talent, a lot of skill. Dude, you need to lose 20 pounds, minimum. I'm like, okay. I mean, I got these like meal prep meals. I'm working. He's like, you're cheating though. I can tell you're cheating. You're cheating yourself. You're cheating your future. You're cheating your wife and your kids. I love your message up there. You're cheating yourself. I'm like, is this guy freaking serious right now?
yeah.
And he wasn't roasting me. He wasn't roasting me or anything. But dude, I'm definitely 20 pounds lighter than when I had that conversation with Andy Elliott. I need to lose another 20 pounds, and that's fine. But that 20 pounds that we had that conversation about, it's gone, and it has stayed gone. So people can say whatever they want about him. The reason why people get triggered by guys like that, the alpha guys like that, is because a lot of the shit they say is true, and the truth hurts.
Yeah, show me where the truth touched you.
I don't have to agree with every single thing the guy says to know that the fundamentals that he teaches are solid. And there, by the way, he's got a lot of really dedicated people in his organization. Hagerman rules. Hagerman rules. Plain and simple. Jacob Hagerman rules. He's the man. So, different strokes for different folks. If that's not the culture you want to be a part of, don't go work there.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Doesn't mean you can't learn something from the lessons. And dude, someone who's able to create a culture that goes viral on the internet, I mean, hey man, who doesn't want that? I mean, why the hell are we even going live right now if that's not what we want? So people can hate on it. Is it a little bit over the top? Is it a little extreme? Well, he wears a shirt that says psycho. So that's what you're going to get when that guy comes on stage. Don't like it, leave. Cry about it in the hallway. So, I mean, again, that's where the market has started to shift, is to people not tolerating BS, people getting way more. Dude, Dana White says some of the same stuff Andy Elliott says. Like, listen, you guys aren't going to come here and ask me these questions and think that I don't control the environment here, right? Like, and they ask him crazy questions at UFC interviews and he just trumps them, slams them. It's great. But people are done with the tippy toeing and the walking on glass on their communication style, because listen, the real world isn't this tiptoe, pitter-patter, ballerina outfit world. It's the real world.
Yeah, let's rip the Band-Aid off and just go and get it answered.
Over the next 4 years, that's the kind of content people want. And that's why people like Andy have been popular, in my opinion, because people are ready to receive that. They're tired of the BS. They're tired of being told that it's okay to be soft and weak and not successful. And so, I mean, if we can't support somebody saying that, regardless of whether you agree with everything they say or not, then, dude, I mean, it's just like, maybe you are meant to be a loser. Maybe he's right. Maybe you are meant to be a loser. So, go sit in the loser corner. I don't want to be in the loser corner. So, that 20 pounds is gone. And it's funny because you can tell. You can definitely tell. So think about that this year. And that's part of us holding ourselves accountable with doing these calls, because we rip for 2 hours in the studio room. We could go all day. But I think that having these calls, and now the ability to do Zoom, because now I can pull cameras into this call. I could pull 6 or 7 or 8 people in from Zoom right onto this stream live. All they have to do is join the Zoom link. So eventually we'll be able to do like community style calls with a whole bunch of different people, hopefully the same people we're mentioning. And they'll come on and they'll break shit down and they can pop in and pop off, even if they just have 10 minutes. And we can set up times to where people can come on and be a part of it. That's the way these things grow. Is how cool would that be if we had 8 people and they're all tagged on Facebook and we go live and we have some awesome little roundtable for an hour. So you got to make time for that. And you got to commit to that. You got to commit the energy, the gear, everything's got to work. And so that's part of what I see as a shift this year that I can do is make it virtual too. If it's virtual and it's the live setting, dude, then we can work with anyone in the world.
No, 100%.
That's the game. So what else is going? Where are you at? Right? Are you at the office right now, or are you at your house?
No, I'm here at the office. So I'm using
you guys
a spare.
Get crazy at the office.
Yeah, it's pretty quiet right now.
I was going to say, I'm like, is it? What is going on over there? I'm seeing like sparklers and like cakes and all kinds of stuff. And
yeah, the money gun. Yeah,
the money gun. Yeah. Explain that to me, because obviously our culture is virtual. So I get on Discord, I talk to our team, we run through people's edits. We run through, this is the offer this week for this person. This person's got this going in January. This person's got this deal. Hey, that doesn't say 75% off. I think it's supposed to. Fix that. You know what I mean? Or whatever it is. Well, I call it Slay the Dragon. I got that from Andy Frisella. Slay the Dragon. I come in the morning, I look at everything we need for every single person, look at what's coming next, look at what's getting prepared for the weekend, because we want to get to a point where everything's automated so that the weekend posts hit. And then we restart Monday through Friday. Then the weekend posts hit. You know what I mean? So that we can kind of start to schedule some of this stuff. The tough thing is with the way we run a social media company, you have to post a lot of this stuff by hand. And there's just no way around it. So we've been working Saturdays and Sundays just like I did at the bars for years. And that's just part of the job. So why is it important for culture-wise, and this is my opinion, and people can love it or not, but I think you have to be willing to work on weekends if you want to be freaking awesome at what you do.
If you want to be awesome at what you do, like, there are no weekends.
Exactly.
It's 7 days a week of a weekday. Like I'd say Saturday is probably my chill day. Like that's usually when we have most of our soccer stuff. I really try not to get onto the computer much, but if my team's at a call appointment and walking a property, I'm running comps and helping them try to lock up a deal. But I mean, my week starts on Sunday. So I'm preparing, I'm getting ahead, trying to get all of my computer techie stuff done on Sunday. So that way I'm fully ready for anything that comes my way, Monday through Friday.
And I've noticed that a lot of the individuals we work with are the same way, because I'll start getting text messages, Sunday afternoon, or that's an email, Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, this, that, the other thing. Because Monday morning, it's like people hit the ground running. And so in my head, I kind of considered that, and I'm like, there's something to be learned for that these people work really strictly through Friday and probably work on the weekends too, but their team takes the weekends off.
Correct.
And so our team never took weekends off for like years. And I started to give the editors the weekends off, and I'm getting the same amount of production that I was getting from them in 7 days in 5. I thought that was really interesting. Once we had that conversation, I'm like, you guys are at a point now where you're good enough to where you don't need to work 7 days a week. By the way, I've never asked you to work 7 days a week. I've just asked you to make X amount of videos. So if you want to make X amount of videos by Friday, you can.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we did with my cold call team. They're overseas, so they're working, the graveyard shift over there. And just, I read an article like what the graveyard shift over months and years does to someone mentally. And so I totally changed up my scheduling for 2025 to where they only have a 4-day work week. So, like right now, team A was off Monday, and then they work Tuesday through Friday. And then team B is Monday through Thursday. They're off Friday. So now, like, they work 4 days, they have 3 days off. So, hopefully that helps with the burnout as well as their attention when they're here. They're not getting bored and getting tired and starting to fumble on the calls and stuff. So, 90 days of that, we'll kind of figure out if it's increasing performance, our connection rate, our leads. So, we have everything down to a science. So, it's just, we just got to make sure we hit our KPIs and our numbers, and everything else will take care of itself. So
I love it.
that's really all I focus is one thing in my business. And when it's off, then that's whenever I go dive in to see what's wrong. So, but yeah.
Dude, we've done a really good job with that. The difference, I would say, with what we do is it's like 30 transactions a month for each person, right? So each video comes in and turns into 30 little things that need to be approved for each person. And it has to have context, and it has to have a caption, and it has to have hashtags, and it has to have value, and it has to be clipped well and edited well, and then it has to be posted. And I think that over the course of the next 5 years, having a team that you use to do those tasks for you is going to be like 100% normal for every single company on earth. They're going to have a little team that does their social media and makes sure that it's posted every day. And they're going to have a little plan each week of what they film and send to the team. And that's kind of how we're developing our system, to where we can almost just send somebody 30 topics and they can send them back to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and that's what it's gonna have to boil down to. I mean, as a business owner, as you're sitting here pushing for growth and coming back down and leading the team and, getting your numbers down, right? There's only so many hours in the day. So being able to just have that list pop open, 5 or 6 videos when you're driving to and from or whatever,
right?
You're getting fresh gym, knock it down, send it, and then just keep going. It's definitely, it makes it easier and less, it feels less of an inconvenience having to just totally stop everything to do it. So it fits in with the schedule much better.
Yeah. And we're going to be teaching people how to do that for free. And then obviously we'll have a system that we provide for people like yourself. But I think that just that barrier, that personal connection barrier of handing it to someone and making it easier and making them feel confident, that makes it us available instantly to get those 10 people. Those 10 people, we don't need 1 million people. We just need 10 good ones here, and we're crushing. So I don't know. I think I look at success and growth and stuff maybe differently than some people, but I've also seen the horror stories of people trying to grow, scale. And like you always say, and then you end up freaking broke or whatever. It's like, you got to be careful, man, and once your reputation is messed up, like that's an everlasting thing. And we've seen that happen to a lot of real estate people with all kinds of different shit that goes on in that industry, because a lot of it's unregulated, and you don't need a license to do this or that or the other thing. And there's not really restrictions in this. And, RJ Bates always roasts Steve Trang for helping regulate wholesale properties in certain states. So that's always fun. You'd probably be on RJ Bates' side on the Trang dynasty argument.
Up until my buddy, I think my buddy shared a podcast that he did with a fellow out of the Northeast last month. Up until then, I didn't even know who he was.
Who, Trang?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's very, very niche. He's very niche famous, which works.
Yeah.
But
I don't like, all power to those people, but I don't care because they aren't in my day-to-day world.
No, I get it. Yeah. It doesn't necessarily impact you at all, which is great. And that's the thing that's so funny about me, is that I find, because by the way, great contact for you. you know what I mean? Easy intro too, but like who knows all the little things that could happen when you start to piece together people that are from different worlds. That guy's in a completely different world than you are, which it's understandable that you haven't seen his shit because you're not looking for it. But being someone that's looking for people that are posting on social media, that was one of my mistakes. I was trying too hard to service people that were already posting instead of trying to service people that needed to be posting.
Yeah.
And that's where we kind of shifted our gears. I'm like, well, wait a minute. We need to find the people that need to be posting that are going to be that in 4 or 5 years or bigger. Yeah. And so we've done a pretty good job of that. And it's mainly referral based. That's why I think that social media is so important, because you can go and you can see someone and you can be like, oh, well, this person clearly does what they say they do. This CASEY HUFF guy clearly does what he says he does. He's been talking about real estate in our face for 10 straight months. Let's check it out.
Yeah.
So it's just so important for people. So what about car sales? I love the car sales stories that you have. Give us one of those car sale horror stories that you've got, because you've got a lot of them. What's like the worst Karen that ever came into the car dealership? Biggest Karen to ever come into the car dealership when you were a car salesman?
Well, my managers might not like it, but I usually kick them to the curb as soon as I got attitude. So I'll say the biggest one that comes to mind, it was actually a referral to me that came in to buy a car on my day off, which is the way it always goes. And I was not there to take care of her. So I had one of our other seasoned colleagues take care of her. And then the next day I come in and I hear the horror stories of how rude she was, how she was like name dropping me, saying that, you know, she should have got a much better discount, much better deal. And they were like, she was kind of like Cruella de Vil in there, just pitching a fit. And, you know, it was just, so yeah, I mean, that's probably the craziest that's happened. It's kind of funny now because the owner of my design, of the design company that's doing my software, him and I had a run in selling a car, and we didn't get along too well.
That's funny.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's nothing like real estate.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
And then how do you even get leads as a car salesman? I mean, I see car salesmen posting viral stuff on Instagram now too.
Yeah, it's big now, you know. When I was in, like, it was early, you know, nobody really used social media, the internet to market their business. Like, we were always trained, you're creating a business within a business. And so 99% of all car salesmen just sit on the lot and wait for people to drive up. So I was one of those people, to be honest. You know, I just knew I closed 1 out of 4 people I took on a test drive. So my goal was to do 4 test drives a day. And so, like, once I got to that, I didn't really care about anything. I'd go to service. I would just do whatever to try to get somebody to drive the car. And so, but yeah, I mean, now these guys are ripping social media and you know, doing good, and everything that you see is true. Like, there's zero, fluff on what these sales guys are doing. So, I wish I would have thought of it, but you know, I hope they're crushing it.
Hey, I mean, there's just so much headspace out there for everybody to fit into. And you just got to find where your angle is. And then you just have to kind of sustain being the trusted person, even when you're broke. You got to be the trusted person that people can go to and do it over and 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 over again. Until eventually it's like you start to get booked up, or you start to have so many deals, or you start to have so many leads, or you start to have so many opportunities, or whatever it is for you, that you can't fail.
Yeah.
But I think that the legwork at the beginning, when you feel like there's no reward in sight, That's what's going to make or break somebody from developing themselves into the person that's capable of the growth that they want. They have to almost create
100%.
that growth first and then sell that growth second.
Yeah. I mean, like I'm going through that in the gym right now, you know. I'm in there busting my ass 6 days a week and like I'm plateaued, but it's like I know if I just stick with it and stay consistent, it'll happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I weigh myself every morning at 6 a.m. Like I'm to the point now, I don't even want to look at the scale just because I know like it's not gonna go if it goes up 3 or 4 ounces, like it just totally tanks my mood. So now it's like I'm not even gonna look. I'm just gonna stand, let it sync to my phone, count to
Right.
30, and then so
That's
like
funny.
as long as I feel good and my clothes are a little looser, that's all that matters. So
Well, I
um,
think
and
that,
then the results will come,
yeah,
later.
totally. And I think there's like a wellness trend happening that's coming and happening. And I've seen it over the last couple of years of people are tired of feeling like shit. They're tired of waking up hungover. That stuff is not cool anymore. Waking up hungover and wasting a whole day of your life to party all night is a waste. You can still stay
No,
up late and not feel horrible if you just take care of yourself. And I think that it's becoming less and less popular to just go out and blow time and blow energy being messed up. And this wellness trend is so good for not only entrepreneurs and people that have big dreams, people that want to be streamers or gamers, whatever you want to do. But I think that taking care of your health, I mean, it's all you got at the end of the day. And if you can get that
yeah,
one thing in check really well or focus a lot on it, you're going to live a better life and you're going to get better results in every other category.
yeah, because it teaches you discipline. What I said earlier, discipline, consistency and waiting for that gain. You're prolonging the instant satisfaction. So you don't have that.
Yeah, totally. Totally. And that in business is the hardest thing for people is they do a bunch of work and they don't get anything instantaneously and they're like, "Oh, well this doesn't work." Well, listen, dude, you don't get paid by the hour when you run a business. You get
No.
paid by solving people's problems.
Hmm.
And so maybe you're not solving a big enough problem,
Correct.
or
I mean,
maybe you're solving a problem for the wrong people.
yeah, chase the problems, not the profit. You
Yeah.
know.
And so I think there's so many ways to look at it. So 2025, you said flips and wholesale deals. Break down what you're targeting. I know we kind of went on a Gulf of America rant there
Man,
for a minute.
I mean, we have a lot of stuff that we're trying to accomplish, but we're small enough still to where it's a deal by deal basis. So, we're gonna analyze it, look at the potential ROI and how long it's gonna take, what's already on our plate, what's coming, and in a perfect world, you want 50-50, 75-25. So, wholesale's good for quick cash, but you're foregoing the 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 biggest financial gain for quick cash.
Right.
So, when you close on it and do the work yourself, you're going to get more equity out of the deal and make more money. So, it's a fine balance. So there's really no specific formula for us.
Yeah. And I think that things get hot and cold, right? So flips were
Mhm.
like hot 4 years ago. Everybody was flipping houses on TV and everything. And then it was like the flip game kind of tanked with interest rates, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you flip, flipping sucks. So, one or two are fine. 8, 10, 15 at a time, it's a job. So it's no fun. And
Right.
then you got to turn around and deal with the retail side to sell them, which is, beating. It's a three-headed monster real estate is in the flipping
Mm-hmm.
business.
Yeah. So break down the three heads in the real estate flipping business for people. The three headed monster of flipping. What is it?
I mean, acquisitions and finding the deal is one. Um, Managing the flip and the project, getting it ready to sell is two. And then selling it, dealing with the agent, the inspector, the appraiser, um, title company, the realtor, all of that, is the third head. And so, that was one of the reasons why I partnered is, I don't, I can do all three, but I'm really, really good at acquisitions and sales. So I can manage a flip. Some people might say not too well, but I can get it done. And then dealing with the retail side with the agents and all of that, it's just like a bag of cats meowing at you all the time. Um, so it's just when you're doing all three, by the time you get to the end, you just want that dog gone, and like who cares. So partnering, I'm allowed to focus and stay in my lane that I'm great at, and I don't have to necessarily deal with the second and the third phase.
Right, right.
So
Yeah,
I
I
do,
mean, dude, there's
but
a
it's not
lot.
all.
And then what
Yeah.
about wholesaling? If you had to break wholesaling down and break it into compartments, what would that look like for people? What's the
I
process
mean,
look like on that?
it's essentially the same thing. I mean, you have acquisitions and sales because you got to lock up an opportunity. Um, you know, then you got to go to title and clear up all the title work. So it's more just transaction coordination at that point, and then selling the deal, to an investor or an end buyer. So, I mean, it's still kind of a three-headed monster, but it's much faster. Um, but you don't control that third monster of the end buyer, the realtor. So, not realtor, the investor. And so, that's always been my biggest reason why I don't do virtual wholesaling. I don't really like doing a lot of wholesaling unless we have a tried and true vetted end buyer on the backside that we've done business with, and we know their word is worth, the paper that they put it on. So, um, so many, I mean, there's so many horror stories of these end buyers, like the day of closing, wanting to renegotiate, wanting to do this, backing out of deals. And, it's the wholesaler was only making 3 grand, so they don't have an opportunity to drop the deal a lot more. And then it leaves, the buyer or the seller hung out to dry because they thought they were closing and moving out. So that's why the industry, in my opinion, is that's why I don't like wholesaling, because so many people aren't transparent with the homeowner, with what they're doing.
Yeah, and so that's why I think people started to do those novation deals, right? Because then you tell the homeowner what the spread is. Isn't that the difference? It's almost like the same thing, but you tell the homeowner, right?
I've
Isn't that
never done a novation, so I don't know.
you're talking to the master of guru terms right now in real estate. I probably know so many guru terms that I could like be a real estate guru, and people that are dumb enough would probably pay me.
Probably.
Probably be like, this is
Yeah,
me
I
and
mean,
Grant Cardone. I totally know how to do wholesale deals.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've never done a novation. We've never done a sub two. I could care less.
Yeah, it's just
Those
that's just not your angle.
No, we just give those leads and get a kickback once they do whatever they got to do, and it goes to the taco fund. We just stay in our lane and do a few things well, and execute at a high level. So we
That's
don't
the
let all
thing.
the industry noise and buzzwords, like derail us.
Right.
So
Because it's a lot of noise out there. Lot of
yeah.
noise. So, I
Uh,
mean, if someone was looking to get started in real estate this year and they didn't know where to start, what would be your advice on how to close a couple deals here over the next 90 days and start to create some momentum for yourself in this new year?
Man, I honestly feel, because that's the way I started, is go to some local real estate meetups, find somebody that you jive with that's where you want to be, and offer value to them. And they will show you and teach you what's working for them. So that can work for you. And then you kind of partner with them and bring them deals and learn, you know, do it for 6 months to a year, do it for a couple deals, do it until, you have 6 months of expenses saved up so you can quit your W-2 and go full time. But that is the best way, because I mean, I think last time I looked, it takes like the average newbie like 10 months to get their first deal, and it's like 3 grand, like that sucks.
Yeah, that sucks.
So, you make more, shit, I guess fry cooks make a lot of money now. So like you make more cooking fries than you
Hey,
would
you cook some
wholesale.
fries on Instagram or TikTok, get a bunch of views. Hey, man, you're cooking fries. You're making money now. There was some
Yeah.
little pancake, Dan the Pancake Man, down in St. Louis at some grill, and he would like spray, make these little custom pancakes, and then like, I don't know, somebody robbed him one night or something in St. Louis. It's brutal. It's tough out there.
But yeah, I mean, to me, that's probably the easiest way to start is just finding somebody and shadowing them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's the game. I mean, that's worked for
there's
me with
so much
business in general.
BS content out there, and like, you listen to everybody, they're gonna have you downloading these softwares, these dialers, buying all these lists and the skip tracing and all this and that and the other. The only person that makes money in that is all the people you just paid for all their services.
Right.
So like, just save it, go learn from somebody, and hit the ground running.
Yeah, that's the game. I love it. Rock and roll, man. I love it. Let's do these every week, dude. Every Wednesday. I'm down.
Yeah,
Let's freaking rip them. Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, Casey Huff in the building. It's your boy Pat Hilton, social marketing show, broadcasting to you live all over the freaking world. We're live on X, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We're just like all over the place. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you on the next one. Casey Huff in the house. It's your boy Pat. We'll see you.
Peace.
Rock and roll. Crush it. Have a great day. Have a great life. We'll see you soon.
Later.